Welcome back. This is Fantastic Pains and How We Hide Them. I'm not Chris.
And I'm not Karina.
But we're here together.
As usual.
For more fun times.
And shenanigans.
If this is your first time joining us, welcome to the party. This is our sibling duo podcast / YouTube channel about life with chronic and invisible illnesses, including the mental and emotional.
I'm mental and she's emotional.
Yes. Where can they find us?
Oh, God, you can find us all over the place. You want to watch us? We're on YouTube. That's where most of our content is best viewed, I'd guess. We're also on most podcasting platforms like Audible. We're not going to be on Google.
Yeah, Google Podcast, I think, is going
moving
away.
to Google Music. So there's a change there. Thanks, Faye, for letting us know.
Yes.
But also small ones like Podbean and Spotify and not small.
Audible.
But yeah.
I think you said it.
I did.
But yeah, no.
And then you can join us.
Indeed. You can join us on Discord, where the link is in our description. It is a wonderful community full of wonderful people who are more than willing to help and just let you talk it out. It's all good.
Mm-hmm.
You can also join us for our lives from Discord and from YouTube. And we do those Friday evenings and Saturday mornings.
Mountain time.
There you go. Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
It gets weird from here. We have a really interesting topic, so I'm excited. Because last week, last week we talked about letting go of what you need to let go of, right?
Yeah.
Letting go of what you can't have. In this episode, we talk about dispelling the echo of crisis, meaning that we are looking to come down from that fight, flight, freeze state of being after a long period of living in crisis. And we've got to retrain our nervous system in order to achieve a better and longer lasting calm that we can actually enjoy.
Yeah. We also get into the subject of panic attacks and how we've dealt with them and what it was like for us.
Yeah.
So if that's too much for you, maybe avoid it. If you think it's something worthwhile,
check it out.
So we'll get into that.
Yes. But first, it is time for the weekly recap.
Check-in.
Indeed. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I can go first.
Okay.
Mine wasn't as eventful as yours.
You had an appointment.
I did, and it went amazing because I love my pain management clinic now.
And I'm so jealous.
Oh, God.
I
And it was so quick. We went in, checked in, was like 3 seconds. I didn't have to fill out thousands of are you suicidal? Are you suicidal? Are you really suicidal?
Are you lying about not being suicidal?
And I graduated to the 4-month plan.
Ooh.
Because all my tests have come back perfect. Because of course they would. And she was just delightful. She sat down. She's like, so what's going on? And I was like, my hip is still smashed. I think I've destroyed the labrum officially. And she's like, okay, we'll look at that.
Yeah.
Get that going. And then we talked about what's going on with Jen. Jen's grandmother's in hospice.
Yeah.
So thoughts and prayers. Ugh, she's having a hard couple months.
It's a hard transition.
The Jen, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
lot.
lot.
And Jen is just, it's raining crap there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's justice for Jen.
Justice for Jen. Hashtag justice for Jen.
And then she just was like, what do you want to do this month for care? And I told her what I was comfortable with. And she was like, that sounds good. And then she filled some things that she wasn't supposed to.
Really?
Yeah. She was like, your primary care should be doing these, but I'm here. I'll fill them. I was like, oh,
nice.
Thank you. Then I don't have to make a 3rd trip or a 4th trip.
Because a lot of it is you have to have an appointment.
Yeah.
And then another appointment and then another appointment.
Yeah.
And then it takes 3 weeks to schedule and then you're out of beds for 3 weeks or 2 weeks or however long.
Yep. She avoided that. And it was the Cymbalta too. So
which is great.
Yeah, you don't want to go without Cymbalta.
Yeah.
And then weirdly, Walgreens was ready.
I know. You told me they were ready when you got there.
Yeah, normally
straight from the clinic.
We go from the clinic to the Walgreens and we wait for 4 hours.
Uh-huh.
That's just baked into how we run it because, they've been chaos lately. No, they were ready when we got there.
Which is crazy.
So we just went and picked up meds. It should be.
It's amazing.
It's fantastic.
Weird stuff.
Still blown away by that. And then what else? I spent a lot of time with the daughter because she had a dance this week.
Oh. And
she got to do the dance and she was bored at the dance and upset that they promised outstanding food.
Yeah.
Like they do. There will be food. And it was $1 for a piece of gum.
What?
And $1 for chips and then $2 for a soda. And she's like, that was a letdown. I was like, I know. I'm sorry, love.
Wow.
Yeah. She was none
They
too
did not
pleased.
plan that well.
Mm-mm. But she got to go, and she looked amazing.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
God,
want to see pictures.
I think there are pictures of her.
They're better.
Because she did her makeup, and
Yeah.
she got this dress on. She looked great, and her hair's like this weird jellyfish wolf cut combo thing.
Oh, it's so beautiful on her though. Oh,
yeah,
it looks
she rocks it.
amazing.
And she's been having trouble with Mean Girls lately,
Mm-hmm.
just berating every little thing. And so we've been spending the evenings together decompressing and
Right, deconstructing it all.
Yes.
And not internalizing.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she's been sleeping in my office
Yeah.
post remodel because it's comfy.
Oh, it's so comfy.
The
That
couch
is made of sleep.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
That's why we used it for so long.
Yeah.
Like
It is
it was
sleep
so
couch.
comfortable.
That's what it's for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it puts her to sleep. And so her sleep schedule has been perfect.
Which is great because this child was like awake at
All
1 a.m.
night. Yeah.
or 4 a.m. or
Mhm.
both.
She would fall asleep at like 4.
Yeah.
And then get up at 7 and be very, very angry. But she's
I
been
would be
waking
too,
up at like
jeez.
4, but she's been going to bed at like 7.
Wow.
So like she's rested through the day.
At least she's rested.
Yeah. It's been really nice.
She is a night owl, so it makes sense getting up early and just having the house to herself.
Yeah. Oh,
get
totally. It fits her.
Yeah.
And then just working on I found a new tool for making shorts, which was really cool. It's like an AI and it pulls shorts from our clips. Like I'll give it our episode, and then 3 or 4 hours later it'll be like, here's a list of episodes that have like the correct search materials. They're trending right now.
Yeah.
And it did a really good job. So we're gonna do one of those a week because you can only do so many per month.
Right. Without paying for the plan.
Yeah, it's like $50 a month otherwise.
No, thank you.
Or $500 annually.
No, thank you.
Yeah. So we're gonna take advantage of like 1 or 2.
Yes. Makes sense.
And then we'll continue with Randy because Randy's way better.
That's what we told him today. He was like, "Do you want me to continue?" I was like, "Yes. Your shorts are amazing."
I love your shorts.
He's working really hard.
And your
He
pants.
can't-
Your
he's
pants are
not
great.
Paying attention, so we can compliment him right now. It's fun, and we can see him.
You beautiful bastard.
So we get to watch as he can't hear while we say nice things at him.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is the whole point of the studio.
It's wonderful.
Now I can do
I
these
love
things.
this. My week.
Your week.
My week. I had a really, really busy and really exhausting week, but I had a good week for the most part. So last weekend I had Evan
Yeah.
face. So I have trigeminal neuralgia, which means sometimes the bones in my face feel like they are melting out of my face. And I had a really bad episode last Friday. And then into Saturday. Saturday evening was really bad. And then Sunday evening was another like bad episode.
Mm-hmm.
And then the weather flipped, and then I was like, okay, I guess I'm fine now. So he's been making an appearance every so often, doing whatever. And then I had a horrible headache the other night that turned into trigeminal neuralgia.
God.
Go figure. But I was stupid. I did I deserve a clean house and a hurt body.
Oh, yeah.
I went and I worked out because I had a horrible temple headache and I couldn't function. And so I went and I was like, I'll just go to the gym.
Yeah.
This is a good plan. And so I did that, and then I came home, and then I was finally able to crack something. And then I injured my wrist at work by opening a door.
Yeah.
That was it. Like I went to open the door, and I grabbed hold of the handle because it's one of those like it's like this.
Mm-hmm.
So I grabbed hold of the handle, and 2 of my fingers slipped off, and I was left with just the 2. And the door was heavier than I initially thought it was, and so I wound up pulling my wrist out and then slammed it back in after I let go of the door. It was really bad. Like I clutched it, went into the office, and I was like, I did a bad thing. And they were like, what did you do? I'm like, I dislocated my wrist and I need a space away from children to be in pain for a minute.
Yeah.
And so I went around the corner and I was just like, oh my God. Died for a little while. And yeah, that was fun. And then I had a massage. Are you watching the cat?
Yeah, he's behind you on the shelf.
You're crazy. He says, why are you not paying attention to me? Love me, damn
Cat
it.
break, cat break.
Cat break forever. He's like, I want to get up here. There you go. That's where he wanted to be.
Now that we have a bigger space, we have a bigger
Yes.
cat opening.
A bigger cat opening.
So,
He
cat
says,
break.
I'm the boss. But yeah, so dislocated my wrist. went to urgent care, and they were like, it's all lined up now, so sucks to suck.
Yeah.
And then I've had nerve pain ever since in my hand and
well,
my
your
thumb.
thumb was swollen.
My thumb was really swollen. It's still swollen. Like, it is still swollen.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, we'll put in a referral for ortho. So I don't know if I'll fill it or not. Because I'm already like, I feel like a fraud. I went and I sat there and there was nothing wrong. I mean, nothing that they could do anything about.
They didn't shame you either, though. They weren't like, why are you here?
It was just like, because of your history, we'll put in the thing, and here's a nice splint.
They were like, we're glad you came in, even.
So I got a nice splint out of it that I used for like a few hours before I was irritated that I couldn't use my hand, and then I took it off. Because I'm a menace, and I don't know how to like take care of myself. Yeah. And then it was just a really good week with kids, though.
Yeah.
I had a really, really good week with kids.
If you want the awesome. the deets, go watch the lives.
Yeah.
Because we talk about it more there.
Yeah.
Because they're just a lot of good interactions.
Yeah, it was awesome. So yeah, good week with kids. Really good live yesterday. Really good live this morning.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Feeling motivated and happy.
Yeah.
And,
I've never felt this content with season 1.
Yeah.
But now I'm about it.
Yeah.
I can now be like, yeah, go watch season 1.
Yeah. Which is weird because usually would be like, cringe, doesn't exist.
Blinders.
Don't look behind the curtain. There's no window. There is no window.
Guys, I know it's been like every week you ask about it.
Window.
There's nothing there.
No window. It's okay.
Hear that? That's wall.
That's wall. That's what wall sounds like.
Did you know? Let me explain walls to you.
Yeah. But it's weird. It feels like turning a page, right? Like we're in a new chapter of the podcast, but not only the podcast, with how I'm feeling at work and how I'm feeling like socially and emotionally.
I was gonna say, like, personally, I've been going like growth wise. I've been feeling it.
Right.
Like it's that time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's the hermit crab time. We got to get our bigger shells.
Time to grow.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just interesting. But it's weird not living in crisis.
Yes.
And that is the moral of what we're going to go into today.
Mm-hmm.
Because I noticed this week, and I think you kind of had noticed it in the same time frame ish.
No, what are you talking about? No, absolutely. I told her earlier. It's like, no, I've been going through it. Like, there have been days where I'm like, even being in crisis, but not being in crisis.
Well, and that's the thing is, like, instead of being in crisis, we have things that are happening, but we're handling it.
Right.
And we're handling it peacefully.
Yeah.
Like, we're not there. There's no feeling of direness and crisis.
Which just means that we've broken the cycle.
Yes.
The mood-based learning that would normally trigger me.
Right.
Like with the stuff going on with Jen. Like normally that would be heavy on the mind. At least subconsciously. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that would be affecting me a lot more.
Right.
But we're addressing it forward.
Mm-hmm.
We're taking it head on. And we're not diminishing it, but we're not like
and we're facing it in a way that's like, we do what we can when we can.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we don't have any more actionable steps, we wait. And we wait for more information. And we wait for more things, like more doors to open.
And we don't let the wait become like a bad thing.
The wait's not its own crisis anymore, which is interesting. So it's just a strange feeling to not be in it.
Mm-hmm.
And to be enjoying the little things and be able to slow down and notice that we're not in crisis, because that in and of itself is very strange.
Yeah.
Because I think before, it's very much like pain. You don't notice when it's
gone. Yeah.
You just notice when it's there or when it's getting worse. You don't notice as much when it's poof.
Mm-hmm.
Which, in a weird way, trigeminal neuralgia taught me to notice those breaks.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and through it, me too, because we were tracking it for a while.
Yeah.
And that got me in the mode of thinking, like, notice when there's a change, not that it's happened.
It's a weird thing, because, like, we would do 10-minute spans of, I'm in pain and at this level, and then noticing when it dropped to 0 and I had those little breaks. Because before, it really felt like I had been in pain 24/7,
Right, it was constant.
like 7 days a week, every day, every time I opened my eyes, I was in horrible pain. You are such a show off, you little ham. He's like, somebody love me. Do it now. But the trigeminal neuralgia and going through that has taught me how to notice those little breaks and take advantage of them, which is so nice.
Yeah, well, think about it. Like before, if you were plotting it, you were just missing data points.
Yeah.
So it was a constant pain meter.
Yeah.
And then when you were taking in the drop, like you
Right.
actually got a break because you're actually taking it in.
I was
like
present for the break.
Yeah.
And I wasn't focused on the pain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a very strange realization.
Yeah.
And yet it feels like being present where you hadn't been before.
Yes.
At all. Like
yes.
you suddenly are here and you're like, wow, this is bizarre.
When I was having the tooth pain,
Yeah.
the last month I've been having it
Yeah.
gnarly. I was noticing when it would stop.
Yeah.
So that I could enjoy it,
Right.
instead of just being like, ugh, it just hurts all the time.
Yeah.
No, there were a lot of times when it was fine.
Yeah.
And I was able to function and be like, oh no, we're good.
Right. And it's the functionality that's like hugely important, and pain impacts functionality like nothing else. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And not to mention like the fatigue and all of that. But being able to be present when things are okay
Yeah.
is like, I get to install that in my memories.
Yeah.
I don't have to have a running list of like, well, that was awful.
Yeah.
The last 2 years have been really hard. They've been really hard. If you've been with us for the podcast, you know quite a bit about like what we have gone through. And there are still things behind the scenes that weren't talked about just because they weren't mine to talk about.
Yeah.
But now that we're kind of on the other side of that, like I can look back on it and be like, that was really hard, but I still learned from it.
Well, and the cool part is because we're in the moment and you're
Yeah.
noticing the good, it reinforces it's not forever.
Yes.
So the next time you're in it, you
Yeah.
won't feel you'll be like, no, it will get different. Like,
right. When we
it
pay
looks like this is
attention-
forever, but
Yeah.
I've noticed that there is a good time. So
Right.
because I remember
it's like
that was
crossing a bridge. You feel like you're on the bridge forever, but there is another side
right.
to it.
There was a moment where you were just in it and you're like,
Yeah.
this is foreseeable. Like
Yeah.
this is it.
Yep.
And I was like, it is, but it will change.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, especially the trigeminal neuralgia, because I didn't know what to
Yeah.
expect, and it was like nothing else I'd ever experienced
Mm.
before. And I thought I thought my well of knowledge was pretty deep at that point.
And then you learned a new thing.
I learned a new thing. But I did learn to be able to come out of the crisis.
Mm-hmm.
But now the question is like, the functioning outside of the crisis still feels strange,
Yes.
right? Like, it's almost like you had anxiety forever and ever and ever, and then suddenly it stopped.
That's exactly it.
And
though.
then you're anxious because it stopped.
Because your guard is now down. Like
Yeah.
you have to let your guard down to enjoy the moment, right?
Right.
You have to accept that there's no crisis and that
Yeah.
everything's okay,
Right.
which is hard.
Yes. Especially if you're waiting for the next crisis and you're
Yeah,
like, if I
God.
let my guard down, because this is the story so many people tell themselves, and I have told myself, and I'm sure you have
Oh,
told yourself,
absolutely.
where it's like, if I let my guard down now, the crisis is going to catch me with my guard down.
Right. Something else will pop up.
So I'll just keep my guard up forever,
Mm-hmm.
and then I won't be surprised by any of the bad stuff that happens.
Except you wear yourself so thin doing that.
Exactly. And you're not enjoying the breaks that you have.
Right.
You're not taking advantage of those those spans of rest and calm
Mm-hmm.
and peace in your life. And I think really missing out on a lot too, because that anxiety is consuming. And even if you're like, oh, I'm just protecting myself, it's still anxiety. You're
Yeah.
protecting yourself because you're anxious about the thing that might be coming or might not be coming.
Mm-hmm.
But then you wait for the next one if that's all you're looking for.
Yeah. If
It's
you're
always
just
gonna
wait
be
and
there.
wait and wait.
And then you
wait.
think you're right. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, see, I knew it.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, well, but
Yeah. And you just build the walls up more.
confirmation bias, bud.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Well, I'd even catch myself doing that and be like, that's
Mhm.
confirmation bias, but still, you
Yeah.
still internalize it.
Right.
You're still like, I was still right, though.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I waited for the thing, but it still happened.
Yeah.
But that's life. Like, things are
Right.
going to happen.
That's like walking around with an umbrella saying, well, it's going to rain.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, yes, eventually it will rain.
You will be right eventually.
But you also have an umbrella out and it's perfectly sunny currently,
mm-hmm.
friend. But we wind up, especially in seasons in our lives where we are in crisis for so long that we don't know how to get out of that constant state of fight, flight, freeze, fawn.
Right.
And this goes perfectly with like, oh my gosh, Ko. This is Ko Show, and he's
a big baby,
an attention whore.
Yes, he is. Especially lately.
He's very cute though. But I was trying to say, oh my gosh,
fight.
Complex PTSD.
There you go.
Complex PTSDs, like survivors of complex PTSD, we spend our entire childhoods or those huge long seasons of our lives in different forms of trauma and different forms of crisis.
Yep.
And in that, we develop maladaptive coping skills that help us to survive that. But then on the other side, those coping skills are not serving us anymore.
No. So it's like you have them at the time. They serve a purpose at the time, but then you have to move out of them.
Exactly.
Like there has to be a transition to not panic.
Yeah. Yeah. And not like stuck in that waiting for something to go horribly wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like that hypervigilance. And there's a ton of other symptoms of that type of anxiety that are really disruptive to your life. And it makes it hard to do anything. It makes it hard to enjoy anything.
Yeah. I still have issues sitting in certain places.
Oh, yeah.
Like if I don't see a doorway, I still get this like tingling in the back of my neck.
I need to be against a wall.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I need my right hand on the outside.
Yeah. I get that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because I need to be able to react with the appropriate hand.
Yeah. See, but these are just things that we've picked up that aren't serving us at the moment.
Right.
Unless you've got ninjas after you and we don't know about it.
You got what?
Ninjas.
Ninjas?
Like ninjas, but ninjas. They're just little girl ninjas. Ninjas.
Little. I hate this.
You've never been attacked by the ninjas?
No, never.
Oh, lucky.
Been attacked by the nieces.
She's kind of a ninja, but not really.
Yeah, not anymore. She's like a full adult. It's very strange.
She's not a very good
My
ninja.
niece is a big kid.
She got called, what, 17, 18 last night in the live?
That was funny. Poor doggo.
She loved that.
Yeah.
She loved every minute of that. She's like, oh, I can't believe you said that about me. No, she loved it.
Oh, am I old?
Yeah, how old am I?
Look at the ring of pollen he has left
Yep.
here. You're disgusting, sir.
You need to get your stuff together and leave.
Get out.
Shoo.
Oh, he's mad. Kosho, honestly.
Okay, down, boy, down. Okay.
Back to what
Enough
we were
of that cat
saying.
mess.
I don't know. Oh, he's leaving now. Bye, buddy. But yeah, no, you learn, and it's hard. It's really hard because your brain has developed these pathways that say this is how we keep ourselves safe.
Oh, absolutely.
We watch the doors. We keep our back to a wall. We are hypervigilant about sounds. I don't know if anybody else is like this or if it's just an ADHD trait or if it's combination ADHD and trauma, but the ability to identify sounds.
Oh, God. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Where you're like, I heard something that
behind me
triggered my brain.
And you know where it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know where that sound came from.
And what it was.
And usually I know what it is.
Or something.
Or you like hold your breath to find out what it is. You're like, wait, I need to be able to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I get that.
Oh, I'm big on identifying sounds. But that's how I like keep myself calm in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like one of my more functional skills is to be able to be like, trigger. And then before panic, I go, what was that first? Was it something that's worth my attention?
So that's
an
example of something that still serves you, though, because it helps you stay calm instead of triggering yourself from being startled.
But it's a difference from being triggered and then having to identify the sound while triggered.
Right.
Where you're like, oh my God, someone's dead.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. No, I get that. Especially with like popping sounds. I had it really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Which is weird because like I had that school shooting thing.
Yeah.
And the popping sounds didn't bother me until like 34. And then something
that's
about it
when
would start triggering the
switched,
memories.
yeah.
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 Well, when I started addressing it too, like
Mhm.
this is a thing that happened, and it legit happened, and it was a big deal.
Yeah.
Because up
Yeah.
until then I was like, it's fine. It
Right.
hadn't happened to me. It just
I
happened.
didn't know about it until you're like,
See, that's
I
weird.
don't know, 5
That's
to
so
8
weird to me
years
because
ago.
I shared it with everyone. I thought that everyone in the family knew because I
Mhm.
shared it with Dad and Mom.
No. Well, they wouldn't have told us anyway.
Yeah.
That
It would have
been
explained a
pertinent
lot, though.
information. Yeah. But they'd have to believe you first.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
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 But there's still those like triggers that we have to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And the goal is not to like not be triggered, because that is a lot of work in and of itself.
Yeah, that's not
That's
something
like-
we're casually addressing. By the
Yeah.
way, just stop being triggered.
Quit being triggered. You'll feel better. Doesn't work that way.
No.
But how are you managing your responses to those triggers?
Right. And letting yourself get to calm,
Yes.
right? It's like we said, it's a lot of work to get to calm.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we're going to get to, right?
Yeah.
Like, so step 1, you've noticed the calm.
Yeah.
Which is really hard to do.
Yes.
To be like, nothing's on fire.
Right.
Weird.
Noticing it without being like, oh, there'll be something on fire tomorrow.
Yeah, planning for it,
Yeah.
right? Like, to be like, oh, everything is okay at the moment
Mhm.
and for the foreseeable future.
Or, and I know people do this, where you go looking for a new fire.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you have been traumatized and you've lived in fight, flight, freeze, fawn for so long, the calm feels scary.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
It is unsettling to be like, nothing's on fire.
You have to
That's
make yourself
really
very
weird.
vulnerable, too,
Yes.
right? Like, you're opening up to letting an
Yeah.
experience happen
Right.
that you're not in control of it anyway.
Mhm.
That's what you get with the fight, flight, and fawn. Like, you're
Yeah.
controlling yourself in that situation, so you have control
Right.
or a sense of control.
Yeah. Yeah, because that was the only thing you could control.
But with calm, you're like, wow, the sun is up, things are happening, and I'm enjoying this. You're letting things occur around
Yes.
you, and you're just like, yeah, this is great. I'm not on edge, but you're secretly on edge.
Yeah.
that's
And
what we're
that's
trying.
when,
to
like, I've seen it in students too, where things will get calm and they get nervous, and they
Yeah.
get anxious, and then they start pushing people's buttons.
so they
because
could
They got to
start.
shake something up.
Yep.
Because that's what feels normal.
Mhm.
Because it
And
does.
safe.
You have to adapt, and then it feels normal and safe, because you know what you're expecting.
Yeah.
And you know that like you can handle it, or you know how you've handled it in the past, or however it may be. But yeah, the calm can be scary.
Yeah, it takes a
And
lot of
unsettling.
rewiring because, like you said before, you have those wired in neural pathways
Yes.
that you've built,
Mhm.
and they had a job and they
Yeah.
did their job, and now you're consciously going, but we could try something else,
Right.
which
And your brain is lazy. It'll go for the shortest shortcut it knows and the
Mhm.
most used path it knows.
yeah,
And it's like a conscious effort to kind of guide it down a new path until that one becomes familiar enough
Yeah.
to take.
yeah,
So, yeah, it's not an easy thing. And it's not something that, like, don't ever let anybody be like, well, just calm down.
Mm.
Everything's fine. And you're like, I know. Everything's fine now,
mm-hmm.
but will it be later?
Right. Well,
And
and that's the
also,
thing. You always talk yourself
Calm
back
is
into
danger.
it, right?
Yeah.
So it's tough. It's like you got to identify it and then call it out.
Yes.
Because that works for me at least. Calling things out makes a huge difference,
Yes.
even if I'm being sarcastic about it.
Yeah.
Like that's how we improved our self-talk.
Exactly.
Huge. And that's the same here, being like, I guess I'm safe.
Oh, safety.
Right.
Gross.
Well, but that would help you build it up until you
Yeah.
actually have a moment where you're sincere about it.
Right.
And you're like, oh, I guess I am safe.
Yeah.
And I guess I can let my guard down and enjoy this.
That is such a, like, affirmations are fascinating to me, because we don't hear I'm safe
Right.
when people are talking about affirmations, right?
No.
But I think that's a huge one, because if you're not feeling safe and you're not used to the safety, you don't know how to function in that space.
Right.
And so, yeah, call it out. Like, I'm safe. I am safe right here, right where I'm at. I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
I am safe. Currently safe.
Yeah. That was part of what's triggered the whole thing last week.
Yeah.
Was just being safe with Bug, right?
Yeah.
Being like, he's doing stuff. I don't need to participate. He's not judging me. I'm not judging his work. He can just work and not feel weird that I'm here.
Right.
So there was like this moment of safe, and I took it in. That's why I was like really high on myself. I was like, I took that moment. Yeah.
To be able to do that, and like, it's different. It's very different when you're consciously aware of the safety around you, and then when things may not be as safe, and being able to switch between the two.
Yeah.
Because things come and go. And we know that, like, our whole saying that came from our little brother, who you were just talking about, is that it gets different.
Yeah.
Things get different. Good things come and go, and so do the bad things. And learning to demoralize things also helps so much. When you're like, it's not good, it's not bad, it just is. And we let the is be the is. And we work around it. And we find ways to work around it. And we use coping skills, and I mean healthier coping skills now for sure.
Oh yeah.
Rather than like, I'm gonna go dissociate or
it's funny to think about
chaos.
now because it was unhealthy, but at the same time it was what we needed at the time.
Yeah.
That's what we were capable of.
Yeah.
To get to where we are though.
Well, and we label them like unhealthy and healthy, but in reality it's like things we learned through trauma, and then things we learned to be able to counteract the things we learned through trauma.
Right. Yeah.
So it's not like it's unhealthy. It has worked for you up until this point, right? Like, we kept it around because it was functional.
Yeah.
In a time of trauma and crisis. But now that you're exiting, you got to go back and readdress that.
Yeah.
And understand that, first of all, you've made it through every single one of your worst days so far.
Fact.
That's amazing in and of itself, right? You did that, and it's okay. And now you can start to take that armor off and go, I can handle whatever's coming next because I have survived up until this point.
Right.
And gosh darn it, we've seen some stuff. So
yeah.
If I can handle that as a child,
I
can probably handle whatever's coming
next.
Next.
Weird weak story.
Huh.
Rory was on a tangent about death and stuff, and it said something that really triggered me. And I had to like stop and be like, I can't have this conversation with you right now. I'm feeling on edge because you're bringing up memories of things that were like this that I went through.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I was like, I get it. And I want to continue this conversation, but I can't go have this conversation with Mom. And he did.
That's awesome.
And I was just like, go me.
That's huge. Holy cow.
And he handled it well. He didn't take it personal. He was like, okay, no, I understand. And he went and talked to Mama instead of me.
That's amazing. Because, that communication is enormous. Like, working in special ed, part of my job right now is to help students build back their confidence.
Yeah.
That they have control over themselves and their lives. And that was one of the like most amazing things that happened this week was I was able to talk to the staff and be like, look, this kid needs some control. This kid needs some like autonomy, right? So that he can build back that feeling of safety, because thus far everything's been out of control. And of course he feels unsafe in every situation. Are you kidding me? You would too. So in order to counteract that, we have to start honoring when he does tell us what a limit
when he's
is.
asking for, when he said like, this is my line. Yeah.
And so far it's actually been really good because he came and saw me during first the other day. And he was like, I don't want to talk about what happened in class, but I think you know why I'm here. And I was like, yeah
fair.
You're fine. Let's art and hang out.
Yeah.
And then we talked about other stuff and he was good. And he was like, I'm going to go back to class.
Nice.
And that is huge.
Yeah.
For them to just feel safe enough to be like, I felt away. I need some time. I'm good now. I've calmed myself and I'm happy to go back to class.
I love that people are respecting that boundary too.
Yes.
For especially for me, like if I had that, I would have been I would have been a lot further along in the journey of like mental health.
Right.
Like to be able to go, no. And people go, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And not revisit it. Like, are you sure that's a no?
Right.
Like, no, I meant no. And I shouldn't have to say it again.
That's not the right answer.
It's so
You're
frustrating.
like, go away. Like, well, you have choices,
Die.
but also you don't.
Mm-hmm.
I offered you choices, but one of them's wrong.
Exactly.
And that was one of the things
Setting
I
them
had
up
to
for
tell
failure.
them was like,
Ugh.
you need to offer choices. But if you offer choices, each one of those choices is correct
Mhm.
and okay. And there can't be one that's like, well, but I know I offered you choices, but I really wanted you to pick this one.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. So we got to work with our brains and not against them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's hard to do.
No shot. Like
Yeah.
it does. It takes a lot of repetition
Yeah.
to beat out the repetition.
Right. Well, you have
Right.
to unlearn before you can relearn.
Mm-hmm.
And then what you relearn, you're literally changing the wiring in your brain.
Yeah. Well, for me, like everything was coded in mood-based learning.
Yeah.
So like it was I remember the first time we talked about like I'm feeling a way.
Yeah.
And I'm not like I'm physically feeling it, but I'm not emotionally feeling it.
Right.
And I was confused by
Yeah.
it. And you're like, oh no, that's simple. That's just your body's reacting because of this trigger. And you're like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That I'm wired for this now.
Right. Right.
And unwiring it took forever.
Yes.
But now it's to the point where like anything that used to trigger me is like processed first and not
Right.
a trigger.
That's exactly it. And that's really what we're trying to get to is feel a trigger or like a trigger occurs.
Mm-hmm.
Feel away, but be able to wrap around that
Yeah.
with your like coping skills and with your ability to deconstruct that
Mm-hmm.
and then using supports
Right.
to be able to go, I feel away because of a thing. I know that I am safe, but I need some time to like process what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Or like, I would like to do something else, or that's triggering for me right now and I'm going to go. Because that's really the thing is we're starting to understand triggers as a whole, as a society, but we're not understanding that people need to be responsible for what happens after they're triggered.
Right. That's hard to teach.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's something you can say in a sentence, but you
Oh my
can't
God.
explain.
Well,
in a
and
sentence.
you can't say it to somebody and be like, you're responsible
No,
for your
exactly.
triggers, because they're like, but something was done to me and now I'm reminded of it. And
Like-
you're like, yes,
Oh, God.
but
I have
the
this fight with
world
the
is
kids
not
all
going
the
to
time.
cater to your triggers.
It's not even a fight. It's that I don't have the way to guide them through it
Right.
because it's so tailored to every situation,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And they're not coded for it. They're not. Their default isn't to go, you're right. Let me analyze this deeply,
Yeah.
come to a conclusion, and then walk around it. And
Yeah.
it's like it's so much harder than that.
Right.
All I can do is slowly get them to understand that they can control their emotions
Yes.
and their feelings and the way they react to things.
Because that's the thing is like, if we view ourselves as victims or like at the mercy of our feelings,
Mm-hmm.
oh, buddy. It's
That's like
gonna
a
be
loss,
hard,
right?
Hard road, yeah. Because you do have control. And not to say that what you're feeling is not valid. That's
Right.
not at all what we're talking about.
Mm.
Because your feelings are valid no matter what they are. But what happens after you feel the feeling,
Mm-hmm.
that part is up to you.
Yeah.
And that part is what you're responsible for. And if we can go, triggered, recognize that I'm triggered, and then go, okay, I have all of these like skills
Mhm.
that I can apply to this to help myself be less triggered or work through that trigger. That's what we want to be doing.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I processed.
Yeah.
And it didn't even take long. I was just like, I had to calm down.
Yeah.
Be like, this is why you feel that way, Chris. And this is how to move forward.
Yeah.
And I did. And I was able to like join back up with the
Right.
conversation in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It wasn't even big.
Right. Because taking that time is not a loss.
No.
That's super important.
That's huge. Giving
Like-
yourself time.
It's appropriate. It is appropriate for you to be able to walk away from conversation that you're like, I'm really uncomfortable and I'm feeling away. I got to go deal with my own self right now. That is not a loss. And that's not like, that it can't be morally bad.
No.
Right.
I feel in that situation too, I always worry that people are judging me for it. Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to say something that I'm
Yeah.
not.
Right.
You know, like, oh, I can't be a part of this right now. Like it's either for attention or it's for like I'm making a statement about something.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's just literally right now. I
I
know this is unreasonable, but I'm processing this
Yeah.
in my way because
Yes.
it's not reasonable.
Right. Because we have to process, because unprocessed emotions they don't go away.
No.
They just go in a nice box that's actually a jack-in-the-box with a really
and
big
the more you
spring,
put in it, yeah.
And you're putting it under pressure, and then one day in your 30s, it's going to attack you for fun.
It will. In the middle of a conversation you're having with your mom. And it won't be fun for anybody.
No.
Not that I know from experience. That definitely didn't happen to me.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, God, it hurts to think about. It
You'll
was
have
like,
to tell me that story.
Hi, Mom.
I don't think I've ever heard that story.
No, it was bad.
Time.
It was bad.
Ooh.
It was the beginning of the bad times.
Okay.
So, like, we're talking before surgery.
Yeah.
Like, before back surgery.
Okay.
And everything was piled on and led me to the dark times that were.
The bad times.
Yeah.
The not so fun times.
Do you want to take a break?
Yes, I think so.
And then
sorry to end on that note, but we're going to come back and we'll talk about like healthier coping skills.
Yeah.
And then how this applies to people with chronic illness and EDS.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes we need the adrenaline and then that can be a problem also.
Right.
But we'll talk a little bit about the nervous system in general and how to bring yourself back to a place of calm and feel safe in the calm.
So that you can enjoy the now.
Yes. But we're going to take a break. And on that break, you need to drink some water. Hydrate or dihydrate. Drink water. It's good for you. Not coffee. Water. Hydration. Good.
This isn't water, it's vodka. But hydrate.
Yeah.
Little does anyone know, I'm always drunk when we do the show.
Never seen him sober, ever.
I don't think you've ever seen me really drunk.
I don't think
honestly.
I've ever seen you drunk. We've never like actually been able to drink together because we're on a lot of medication.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But have a drink of water. Have a snack.
Because you are a snack.
There you go. Take it. Take the compliment and love it. Okay. Yeah. Go outside. Get some sunlight. It's really good for your sleep schedule. You'll feel better. Maybe take a stupid mental health walk. I don't know. I'm not your mom.
I love that. Good reference. Good
right.
reference. And if you're manic or you have the propensity to be manic, are you?
Check in.
Just do a little check-in.
Yeah.
And you know, it's okay. It's okay to be manic. Just manage it.
Yeah. And I mean, you can do a check-in with yourself no matter what is going on with you.
It's probably best for everyone if we do that.
It's never a bad thing to do.
No.
Check in with yourself. See what's going on. But yes, we're going to go do some of those things right now, and then we will be back.
Bye.
Oh, hi. Do you like Fantastic Pains? Would you like to see more of the Fantastic Pains podcasting crew? If so, you should join our Patreon. The Patreon, as we like to call it, is the new home of our behind-the-scenes content, full uncut recording sessions, our short-form videos such as TikToks and YouTube Shorts, and our past live streams. You can also find some Patreon exclusive content such as our new music reviews, lost episodes, and is the new home of our Mini Voices series, all of which can be found in our higher tier dubbed The Only Pains. The Patreon is the best way to support the podcast, so whether you want to see more of us or just want to help us grow, feel free to sign up following the link in the description below, and hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of the show.
Welcome back. How was your break? I got her good. I accused her of making fun of me and then totally switched the tables on her.
He's a monster.
Oh, how the tables have turned.
Oh, how the
turns have tabled.
We're back. And we're going to talk about healthy coping skills.
Yep.
And learning to let go of that panicked state, as well as kind of going into panic attacks in general.
Yes.
A few of us have had them, and how to get back to a grounded state.
Yeah. Well, and it seemed pertinent. During the live we talked about it.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, "Yeah, no, it makes sense." So
I think it's a good time to go into it. Where do you want to start? Let's reiterate this part. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
So literally, when you've lived in a constant state of fight, flight, freeze, fawn, your nervous system is constantly activated. Your cortisol levels are through the roof.
Yes.
So that's your stress hormone, right? And it's like your brain fog's going to be bad. Your memory's going to be poor. You're going to be exhausted all the time because living in that state is so exhausting.
Yeah.
And
You're just spread too thin all the time.
Yeah. And it's also likely that you are pushing your emotions down in order to deal with the crisis itself. So, do you want to do panic attacks first?
Yes. We
Okay.
should do panic attacks first.
Sweet.
Not because it makes sense, but because we have people here that are willing to talk about our panic attacks.
Yes.
Specifically
So-
mine and
Yeah.
Randu's.
Yes. So you've had panic attacks. When was your first what you can remember to be a panic attack?
Oh God. I used to get them a lot in high school,
Mhm.
and I'm only just now realizing that.
Yeah.
Um,
I know it's weird in retrospect to
Not
recognize what's
realizing.
what. Yeah.
yeah, but that's where they originated from. And I'm not sure what triggered them because it was, forever ago. I'll have
Right.
to think on it. But the main ones that I've had recently were based on trauma that I had as a middle schooler.
Yeah.
And because mine weren't really based on like being overstressed.
Mhm.
They were literally triggered, and then I was having flashback memories and
Yes. That's
reliving
terrifying.
moments.
Yeah. Well, because what you went through was extremely traumatizing.
Just a bit.
And then you weren't allowed to process it for a long, long time.
Yeah. No, it's like I said, I was 30. It was right when I started having back pain in general.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my mom, and I was like, I think that was around the time someone said that I was the victim of, and I was like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm not
And you
a
have to
victim of. I
reject
was
it.
there. Like I
Mhm.
was just it. You know what I mean? And
You're like, I didn't get shot.
I said something to my mom, and she's like, "Oh well, it's not like you were there." And then I was like, "Actually,"
Yes, I was.
and then that kind of broke me down, and then I just
yeah.
kind of let it all out. And then after that, like it was something I was constantly dealing with, right? Like weird noises would trigger it.
Yeah.
I would have just out of nowhere panic attacks.
Yeah.
I'd be like, Jen, I feel really weird. What's going on? You remember?
You would also cause yourself to have panic attacks with the imposter syndrome, like when we were first trying to get you diagnosed, like going to like the CDC guy. And that
Oh,
clinic.
doctor related panic attack. Ooh,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah, because I was like,
They're not going to believe me anyway.
No.
Yeah.
and nothing we did was getting results. Like
Mhm.
we were getting 0 results.
Yeah.
And we just kept trying and trying, and then
That was before we started seeing Diane.
yeah, well, that was before the suicide attempt. The suicide attempt was the turning point
Mm.
where I was like, I need to take this seriously
Yeah.
and figure out what physically is wrong with me, and then work on
Yeah.
the mental at the same time.
Right. Right. Well, and then my husband had panic attacks for a while in the last 2 years, right, Rand?
Yeah. It's been probably about a year since I've had one.
Yeah, it's been a bit.
good.
They started right around the head injury point, yeah?
Yeah, right about that time.
Yeah.
Mm.
So he was having panic attacks mainly at work, but also at home. Do you know what the triggers were?
Honestly, not really.
Did
Okay.
it seem like it was like an overload, like a stress thing?
Yeah, I'm sure that was part of it. I think it mostly just happened when things felt like out of control.
Oh yeah. No, I get that.
Yeah.
1000%.
Right. Well, and that's when you were dealing with kind of understanding the bipolar as well.
Yeah.
And so you were fighting the bipolar, you were fighting a head injury, and you were fighting like all of the legal nonsense
Oh,
that was
God,
going on at
yeah.
the same time.
It was a lot.
Yeah. What were panic attacks like for you? Like, could you describe it? Like what you went through?
I mean, I can very distinctly remember my first one because I thought I was having like a heart attack or a stroke.
Okay.
My whole body just tensed up. It almost felt like being in a car accident while sitting still.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've had panic attacks. I had panic attacks. I had some pretty bad PTSD after a pretty major car accident when I was a teen.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, like I would faint. They would be so bad. They would be so unbelievably bad that I would pass out.
Makes sense. Like if your heart rate jumps and then
Yeah. Well, and then
Everything's
usually
dilated.
I always felt like I had to move because it's that like weird feeling
yeah.
of like I have to move or I'm going to die. That was the like imperative. That was the demand
Mm-hmm.
in my brain and in my body was like, move now, move. You have to move. And usually it was happening while I was in the car. So there was not a lot I could do about that. But I was having flashbacks.
Yeah.
And it was also really hard for me because I was dealing with the memories of the car accident, and the driver didn't remember. He was knocked unconscious and had a really major concussion. And
so you were the one left with all
I was the one left with the memories
Yeah.
of what had happened to us because I was the one who was awake and aware
Mm-hmm.
the whole time.
Thanks, EDS.
Yeah. They did say that I should have been dead, so thanks, EDS.
Right.
But it's just, it's insane. Do you feel like it started in your body or started in your mind? Or like equal amounts?
It was pretty equal because the first major one I had was literally me reliving it,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt it in my body first,
Yeah.
like the panic and the confusion
Yeah.
of it all hit me, and then I was just in it. You know what I mean? Like I
Jesus.
was in the memory,
Yeah.
and I didn't know what to do, and everyone I had sense wasn't as intense as that main one,
Yeah.
but they were very physical. Like so I even started having some that were just the physical response
Mm-hmm.
without any of the mental. Like I was saying, like
Yeah.
it really confused me.
Right.
Yeah, his are very physical. Mine are the exact opposite.
Really?
Like physically, I shut down.
Okay.
Can't talk. Like, I can move technically, but
But everything's
I
internal.
shut down.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It's all internal.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of, yeah, outside of the car accident, because they thought I was having panic attacks for a while,
Yeah.
but we still don't know if that was panic attacks or if it was the esophageal spasming
Oh yeah.
or what it was, because like I thought they were panic attacks for a while, but then I was able to fully ground and still have
The panic attack. Yeah.
like the symptoms within my body.
Yep. I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, and mine were like, I remember I could see like the flashbacks, like that was the first thing, was the flashbacks, or in the car I was predicting accidents.
Oh yeah.
And I could see them. It wasn't like I was like remembering it. I was literally in it and
Yeah.
aware.
Mm-hmm.
And like I wasn't allowed to deal with my emotions for a long time because like I had to be the one to get the driver out of the
Right.
car.
You were
I
in
had to flag
crisis mode.
down help. I had to like hold it all together.
Well, and then afterwards, dealing with family, like it wasn't like
Yes.
you were invited to be emotional.
Right. Well, and I was on like in and out of consciousness for like a week.
Yeah.
And then even after that, I was like I was having panic attacks at school.
Yeah.
And teachers weren't understanding. And I remember one time my friend Suzanne had to like I was like sobbing at the desk because I was like, I need to go to the nurse, and the teacher was like, no. And I was sobbing, like I couldn't hold it all back.
Yeah.
And my friend Suzanne went up to the teacher and was like, that's ridiculous. I'm taking her to the nurse right now.
Yep.
And she took me down to the nurse and I went home. But like I was terrified of driving. I was having nightmares about crashing. And then that continued until I started learning how to drive. But I was still having dreams about like wrecking cars.
Oh, yeah.
And losing control and all of that.
That's where like for me the sitting, I always had to know where a doorway was because
Yeah.
the second half of that trauma was hiding in rooms trying to
Oh, yeah.
avoid the door because you were worried someone was going to kick the door down and just shoot us.
Yeah.
So like there's a lot of like knowing exactly where you are in the room
Yes.
and trying to put people
Yes.
between you and the door.
Well, and being able to see everybody without having to like
Yeah.
turn too much,
Yeah.
and watching people who pass by in the corner of your vision, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the hypervigilance is intense.
Yeah, and that's what would kick it off would be the hypervigilance. Like it would be like a
You're, like,
firework would go off
watching
because
for
we have a
danger.
guy over here who does his own
Yes.
fireworks and he's always setting them off. So it'd be like
Annoying.
out of nowhere,
Yeah.
you know, it's like the middle of January and bang, and you're like, oh great, now I'm in fun, you know.
Yep.
Oh god. But it's gotten so much better after addressing it.
Yeah.
Like doing the actual therapy about it and
Yeah.
learning the grounding techniques and coping skills.
Right.
Like it's not even a thing now. Like if they go off and I'm like even remotely triggered, I handle it like instantly.
Right. Right.
You
It's
know?
that like think first, react second.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it takes a lot of work to get there. It's something that you have to practice. And I think it helps to have that like a buddy
Mm-hmm.
who you can either like call to help you ground if you are in the middle of a panic attack, or someone who's nearby to you who knows what's going on and knows what to do.
Yeah.
Because for Randy, what was like the most helpful thing for you? Like helping you to end a panic attack or come back from it?
I think probably grounding techniques.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I taught him how to do the like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding.
Yeah.
And that was super helpful because we could even do it over the phone.
Yeah.
And that helped, I think, a lot.
Yeah. I mean, you did it with me a few times.
Yeah.
Like over text.
Right.
And then I would
Oh,
have
he's
Jen.
done it for me too. You
Yeah.
you did like think about sailing. Now do this. Now do that. Like it's just
Mm-hmm.
it helps so much. Sorry, you were gonna say something.
No, I was just, and I had either you or Jen,
Yeah.
like always available,
Right.
which made it so much easier. And on the flip side, having a guy who's always setting up fireworks was a plus because I got to practice the skills
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
over and over again. It was
Fun.
rough, but
Yeah. So I use like the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding a lot, which is
Mhm.
like what are 5 things you can see? What are 4 things that you can hear? I think is the other one.
yeah, and then touch.
And then what can you smell? What can you and then we change it a little bit because I didn't like the last 2 because it's like what's something you can taste? My mouth? I
Right.
don't know. I'm
Taste-
gonna lick the dirt.
I like the
Mm.
last 2.
Yeah. And then we did what are 2 things you're grateful for, and then what's something you like about yourself,
yeah.
or what's something you like you appreciate about yourself.
Which is great for self-talk too.
Yes.
So you go from panic attack to like self-esteem.
Yeah.
Just saying. It's a
It
good
really
add-on.
does. So it just helps you to be able to put yourself back in the present
Mm-hmm.
and reaffirm the fact that you are safe in the present right now.
Yeah.
So even like if you're reliving the fact that you weren't safe then and everything feels unsafe now, you're still where you are. No matter where your brain goes, you're still where you are, and it's okay.
We need to get those cards against anxiety.
Yeah.
And
I have a set. I just have them at work.
yeah, we need to have them on.
Yeah. Because they have really good like breathing techniques too.
What's up, Jen?
Somebody else being around
Mhm.
me helps the most. Like
Yeah.
I do use the grounding. It's been a while.
Yeah.
I do use the grounding of like touch, especially,
Mm-hmm.
to be more in the now.
Yeah.
But somebody else being calm helps me be able to calm down.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Well, and that like physical touch is a big one, I
Mhm.
think, especially if it's something where you're reliving something else.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on the person, so don't like, oh, they're having a panic attack. Let me go
Touch.
touch them. You
Tickle
might get
fight.
punched or they might start crying.
Yeah.
Ugh. But having, like, I know when I'm really upset and I'm having a hard time grounding, having heavy pressure
Mhm.
helps so much.
Yep.
Like, I remember one time just like sobbing. I don't even remember what it was about. And I gave my husband a hug and he put his arms over top of me and then
squished.
pushed down.
Yeah.
And I instantly was like,
yeah.
okay, I'm better now. And he was like,
Don't you love that
you're
feeling?
so weird.
The like,
Yeah.
the release.
The release
love
is
that.
huge. I also learned about if you inhale again at the top.
Yeah.
And
The
do
reset.
that like 3 or 4 times. And that helps to calm your nervous system.
Mhm.
Because that's really what you're fighting is you're fighting against your nervous system.
I do it all the time. Jen's always like, "Why are you sighing?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "I don't know. I think I need a reset."
Yeah. I needed to do something. I don't know. But yeah, no, that's one that I like to use a lot is the big breath. Because breathing exercises are hard for me just in general because I want to, like, remembering to belly breathe is good.
Yeah.
But I have a hard time with that one. And I can actually make things worse if I breathe,
Right. Wrong.
like, in the wrong moment.
That one was always easy for me because I did choir.
Oh yeah.
But if I'm starting to feel anxious, I'll ask for a hug from Chris.
Yeah.
And he hates it, but how he smells calms me down.
Well, that's fair. That's fair.
I'm safety.
I remember like approaching panic attacks and then reaching over and holding my husband's hand.
Yeah.
And then instantly my body would like
Release.
relax
Yeah.
and be like, no, you're safe because you have this person.
Yeah.
And they're looking out for you. And you're okay. So yeah, find a buddy. Find a buddy who can help walk you through those grounding techniques because it can be hard when you have like flipped your lid. When you are in fight, flight, freeze, and fawn, you literally don't have access to the normal thinky part of your brain.
Mm-mm.
The reasoning part of your brain is gone because now we are in lizard brain and survival brain, and that's all you got.
Yep.
So having someone else there to help direct you back into a like thinky brain state.
Yeah, that's all we really
is
need.
so helpful.
Yeah.
So helpful. And then you can talk about like what's going on or what has
Mm.
triggered you, or you can address it in different coping skills.
Yeah.
Other thoughts? Oh, that one.
Sorry, it's my
Oh my
son
gosh.
having fun at a farm.
He's so cute.
We sent him off to the farm. It's a very sad day.
Little farm in the sky.
Little
Ooh.
buddy in the farm. Which one were we? This one?
This one.
Yeah.
So, if you have EDS, and I'm sure this happens with other chronic and invisible illnesses, we use adrenaline to function.
Yeah. Oh God, yes.
It's like nature's coffee.
Hmm.
Um,
And we've heard this from a lot of people.
yes.
Like we've talked about it before in lives.
Yeah.
But it's like an ability you can develop to just have an adrenaline drop so
Yeah.
that you can do something.
Right.
You're like, I have this thing coming up. Let me get hyped, and then there's
Yeah.
the adrenaline, and you
Right.
go off and do whatever it is.
Getting ready for work, like
Oh,
I have my
God,
cup of
yeah.
coffee, and then I get like my boom, boom, boom. I gotta go because like my brain's always like you're late, and that's the adrenaline.
Yeah.
Like oh you gotta go. You're late. You're late.
Hmm.
So then I can get ready and get out the door. But then it's all, for me at least, I just never stop moving throughout the day.
Right.
And so I constantly have a little baseline of adrenaline going to keep me moving throughout the day.
Hmm.
It's not the healthiest thing in the world. And people are like, you need to pace yourself. You need to blah, blah, blah. But if I relax,
That's it.
everything falls out.
Yeah.
Because we have to maintain a certain amount of
Pressure.
tension
Yeah.
and pressure within our body to keep our joints where they're supposed to be,
Yep.
and to be able to walk, and to be able to climb stairs, and to be able to like run across the building and help kids and bounce from desk to desk and change positions over and over again.
Yeah.
And fight pots.
Oh God. Like, I was noticing this the other day when we were moving things around,
Mhm.
that was part of what was upsetting me was having to stop,
Yeah.
because then I would be like, all right, let me sit in a position that's going to hold me together for the next 10 minutes
Yeah.
while I wait for them to give me permission to
Right.
do something.
Well, and you can't relax.
No,
You can't
I
let
was
go.
I was curled up.
Yeah.
Like I was in a ball. I was like, all right,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Which is why, like, it's really hard when good God, help me. When doctors tell you that you need to pace, or you should be taking breaks, or
Yeah.
you need to find ways to relax and do self-care. And you're like, but that's the enemy.
Right.
You don't understand. I have to have tension because otherwise I don't function.
If I
And-
stop, there's no starting back up.
Exactly. Like we're built on momentum. Very much on momentum. And that momentum often starts with a little bit of adrenaline,
Mm-hmm.
which can make it really difficult, but can also make us more prone to panic attacks and anxiety.
Right. Because again, you
Because
have
your
that
body.
the mood-based learning. You're gonna
Yeah.
have an adrenaline drop. You're like, what's going on?
Yeah. Well, and your poor body's like, who are we fighting?
Yeah.
And also, why are we doing this all day long?
Mm-hmm.
You're like, I don't know. We can't do it without
No.
it.
There's adrenal fatigue is a thing you can get
Yes.
developed too,
Mhm.
which I'm sure I've experienced a lot, because even without doing it on purpose, like it was just something that happened all the time.
Yeah.
Like when we
First thing in the morning when I check my watch,
Yeah.
like halfway through the day, my biggest spike is in the morning for my heart rate.
Yeah.
So I'll be at like 152 first thing in the morning, and then the day.
Yeah. No, like I would get fight or flight all the time randomly.
Yeah.
Especially in my like late teens, early 20s.
Right.
Just nonstop.
Yeah.
For no reason.
Did you get that like feeling of impending doom?
Mm-hmm.
Constantly.
Yeah.
All through my teens and my 20s was this like constant like waiting for something
Just
to happen.
dread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something is going on and I'm not privy to it yet.
Mm-hmm.
And that's making me anxious.
Oh God, there were so many nights I would wake up and be like, oh God, something bad happened.
Somebody died.
Yeah.
There's been an accident. Like something has gone wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's challenging. And it's really challenging to try to get doctors to understand, because they want you to relax and take breaks. And
we can't all be Raduga with the hot EDS doctor.
Right?
Well, hot EDS nurse.
nurse.
And then a doctor.
You get a hot nurse and an EDS nurse? What?
Yeah, that was amazing. I'm not jealous.
Duck?
I'm not. This is my anti-jealousy face.
Anti-jealousy face.
I'm so happy
His eyes
for
are
you.
not green. They're blue with sadness.
With sadness. I'm so sad. Yeah.
Jealous and sad. Yeah.
Oh, fun fact.
Oh.
Sorry, this is something Ruth posted. I don't know if you saw it or not.
Maybe.
When you blush, your stomach blushes too.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I thought that was super interesting. She posted that as a fun fact. She read it in like at a physician's office, and I was like,
Weird.
all right.
So weird. That's so bizarre. I
Yeah.
wonder why. Huh. I mean, it makes sense for like where you feel embarrassment in your body.
Exactly.
That makes sense. Embarrassment's a weird one.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But lesson being, find some healthy coping skills.
Yes.
To bring yourself back from that brink.
Find what works
Stop
for you.
waiting for the other shoe. I know you want to, but you have to be able to let go of the anxiety and the like fight for control.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, not having control is not a bad thing. It's not. If we had control over everything all the time, can you imagine how anxious
Oh God.
you would be trying to control?
Just a
like,
stress ball.
You just have tons of balls in the air and spinning all these plates, and no, thank
Mhm.
you. No.
Yeah.
So,
There is so much more to life
yeah,
that you don't need to be in control of.
right. So let go of some of that control. The actionable things are what you need to worry about. The waiting is just waiting. And then start recognizing when you've come out of crisis
Mhm.
and work on letting down some of that guard so that you can be present and enjoy them. Yeah.
Beautifully said.
Thank you. I like words.
She got to the words.
The words.
And now we're going to do 20 minutes of calm.
Staring into each other's eyes.
Staring at Jen. I'm feeling calm. Oh, she's blushing at me. No, I love it.
Cute.
I hate it.
You're blushing too.
Stop.
Because I said cute.
Guys. This isn't funny.
He's cute though.
Yay.
Like this.
I hate all of you.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Great. Crunchy.
Telling
Crunchy.
you.
I just do all the pops now. All right. Should we say goodbye, or
Yeah.
do you want to model some coping skills? Or do you want to wait till we have our cards against anxiety,
I
and then
really
we
wanted
can
to do
model
cards
some of
against
those
anxiety.
coping skills in a different
They're
episode?
so good.
I want to do it. I'm gonna have to. I'll bring it home from work. With
What
me
I'm
at
thinking
some
is
point.
that we could do a short series on TikTok
Yeah,
where we go over a card per.
that would be cool. I like that
TikTok.
idea. Nice.
Yeah.
And if you guys have any ideas on topics, or you have any comments on what we've talked about, please leave us a comment. We love hearing from you guys. We appreciate it so much. We love your participation.
Yeah.
If you found value in this at all, if you could like, share, subscribe. Yeah.
What was it that Light Love said? Smash that like button with
Smash
a
it.
sledgehammer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smash the like with a sledgehammer.
Do it.
Do it. And subscribe, because there's more.
There's
Well-
always more.
We'll be here.
Yeah.
We'll be here all week. It'll be fun. So,
Oh, and join the Discord.
yes.
Join the community. We love when people interact.
Yeah.
And there's so much to be gained and so much fun to be had
Yeah.
just by hanging out with people.
And literally all we do all the time after we get off our like lives or interacting with the Discord is talk about how wonderful these people are.
Yes,
And how on earth did we collect such amazing humans?
it's true.
So come join our clan of amazing humans.
The menagerie
We are the Trash Panda
of trash
Nation.
pandas and bipolar bears.
Yes. And some zebras thrown in there.
Yeah, a little bit.
It'll be fun times. All right, my friends. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We really appreciate your engagement,
Mhm.
as always. Yeah. Anything else? We
I
good?
love you,
We love you. Indeed.
and I love you.
Aww.
Love the support.
So gay. They love each other and stuff. Ooh.
Yeah.
Did you want
imagine?
to try your idea of shooting the summary of the episode now that it's over?
Oh yeah, we could.
Oh,
we could-
we have to end it first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we could try that.
We're almost there. Sorry, guys. All right, my friends. It's time to go because we got stuff to do. Our producer just said so. So, I'm going to mess this up really bad.
She's got this. She's
I'm
got
trying
this. This is
so
gonna
hard
go
not
well.
to mess it up, but my brain is like, do it wrong on purpose. Do it. Do it.
Fail.
We love you. Be kind to you. Be kind to others. And we will see you in the next one.
Bye. Good episode.
Yes. I liked it.
Well done.
We did good. Thanks for participating, Ran.
Yeah.
I guess fuck Jen.
Well, you were just quiet over there.
Yeah.
Jen was like involved. So I was trying to include
I
you.
love that. I guess fuck Jen, right?
Fuck. God damn it.
That was great.
Jesus.
Yeah, point it out. Now she's angry. God, now I
I
have to deal
love
with
Jen,
her.
Sure.
okay? I love
really
you,
show
Jen.
it.
I love you, Jen. I love you. Thank you for participating.